All right, I've been listening to all my subscribers. I hear you. I know there's some changes that need to be made on the channel here, so a little more energy here. The last one was a little heavy, so try to move on and get something a little more lighthearted, and hopefully this one will be a little easier to watch. So let's get right into it. Get into some Reddit. We're gonna do "Am I the asshole" today. So our first post is coming from user Nunya Beeswax123. And the title is "Am I the asshole for telling my sister it's her fault she gets bullied?" At least they're a little self aware. The title sounds bad, I know, but let me explain. I, 17-year-old female, am a senior in high school. My sister, 15, is a sophomore, and she's been bullied her entire life. And while I've stood up for her so many times, she doesn't listen to me when I try to tell her why people don't like her. Here are a few reasons. She refuses to wear a bra, despite being a C cup. She won't put on deodorant, so she always stinks. She won't shave or comb her hair, and she always corrects people on their pronunciation and grammar. Even one of my friends who has a speech impediment. Yes, I've told her about it, and no, she doesn't listen. The main issue of it all, though, is she's a tattletale. One example of this I can think of is when she came home from a slumber party the next morning crying. When our parents asked why, it was because her friends wanted to stay up late, and when she couldn't convince them to go back to bed, she went and told on them. So they got mad at her and ignored her for the rest of the next morning. Probably the most recent and worst example of tattling was last year. My sister overheard people at school talking about a house party where there would be drugs/drinking because the kids' parents were out of town. And she immediately went to the principal, who tipped off the cops. Needless to say, no one really wants to tell her anything. Then just yesterday, my sister was venting to me about some kids who were mean to her, and I casually told her, "Don't worry, they're just assholes." My sister immediately ran to my mom about the swear word I said, and I had to put $1 in the swear jar. After my mom left, I took my sister inside and said, maybe if you learn to keep your mouth shut, someone might actually like you. She ran into her room and wouldn't stop crying. It took my parents some time to console her and find out what happened, and of course, they're mad at me now. I don't think I did anything wrong, but am I the asshole? So the top comment is from BloodRose80 with almost 20,000 upvotes at this point. And they say, "I'm wondering if she may have some sort of undiagnosed condition, like autism spectrum disorder. These conditions are not neurotypical in girls her age. People with autism often have sensory issues and take things literally. Maybe she thinks she has to report things. It seems like she may benefit from some sort of neuropsychological examinations. I don't think that you're the asshole, but your delivery was maybe a bit harsh." Another reply says, "Not the asshole. You've stood up to her countless times, and while I'm not condoning bullying, the victim isn't always right. Also, she needs to understand that it's not your or anyone else's job to protect her from the bullying. She can either change her behavior or learn the hard way that some things just don't make you a person that everyone wants to be around." OP replied and said, "Every time I tell her, she goes running to my parents and I get in trouble. They think the tattling is honorable." Someone replied and said, "Sounds like they're not helping anything." Another reply says, "Your family is the asshole for not addressing these issues sooner. This is not normal behavior for a teenager. She needs to be evaluated by a psychologist." I just love this reply. It doesn't really answer the question, but I thought it was good enough to include. The comment says, "Just for the record, no one has to wear a bra, no matter their size, for anyone's comfort but their own. If she doesn't want to wear a bra, she doesn't have to. And it certainly doesn't help her boobs stay perky. Quite the opposite, in fact. She's doing her titties a favor." And a reply to that says, "In this case, though, maybe one of the flags for autism. Being unable to wear constricting or irritating clothing is a really, really common characteristic." I mean, I'm definitely not one to tell you, hey, you should put on a bra, but hey, maybe that's a sign for something that isn't checked. Anyway, moving on. So reading through the rest of these replies, basically everyone's saying you're not the asshole. Definitely get her checked for autism. To me, definitely agree with that. With someone that has an undiagnosed condition, it can definitely help if they do get the diagnosis that would help them kind of move on in their life and help to compensate for that or help them kind of live their life to the fullest. I actually had a coworker that he introduced himself to me, and he ended up going on a bit of a tangent, and he stopped himself and he said, "Hey, if I'm annoying you, just let me know. I'm on the spectrum, and sometimes I don't pick up on social cues. So if you could help me out and kind of let me know if something's bugging you or I'm overstepping in any way, just let me know, because that's something I might not pick up on myself. And I thought that was really cool. Like, that's where we're at in our society, and that he felt comfortable saying that to me, and it helped us be really good friends in the end. So OP, do I think you're the asshole? No. Like others have said, I think that your family is more to blame because they've neglected this condition that your sister has. And I think that maybe this will lead to a bit of a wake-up call for not only your sister, but also your parents. Hopefully that'll help you guys both get along better and overall just help her have her best life. So this next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my therapist she's not worth $200 an hour?" I started seeing my therapist 3 years ago. In time, I felt she wasn't a great fit or a great therapist. Here's my reasons. 1. She was chronically late, even though she had lunch before my session. We regularly started 10 minutes late or more. A big deal when I'm coming in the middle of my workday and can't stay late, which I did call her out and request time to be added to my next session, which she did not like. 2. She kept pushing practices on me that I don't use. I got tired of saying, after X stressful thing happened, I meditated for 10 minutes and felt much better. And her saying, well, did you try Y? Next time try Y instead of meditation. Why would I do that? I'm doing something that works and I'm comfortable with. Why keep pushing something else? 3. I felt she was just phoning it in a lot. In the beginning, she felt engaged and like she was paying attention and pushing me to improve my mental health. But over time, it didn't feel like she was helping me anymore. I started to think I should look somewhere else for therapy. Then a bizarre situation with billing came up this year. She wanted to know what my total deductible was and for me to pay her $200 per session until my entire deductible was filled. Then switched to lesser payments once my coverage took over. I was seeing other specialists during this time. Those visits were also taken out of my deductible. Her wanting me to pay my entire deductible made no sense and was going to cost me more money. We got that straightened out, but that was the nail in the coffin, and I was going to look for a new therapist and drop her. Then Corona happened, and I thought that it was better to stay for now, though the therapy continued to be lackluster. Last session, she announced that she's opting out of taking insurance. So, in some months, I'd need to pay her whole fee, $200, myself. I said that I'd end our relationship. I am seeing an in-network therapist because of money. She said, well, I think I'm worth $200 an hour. To which I said, I don't. I feel like a total asshole for saying that. The silence was thunderous. While kicking myself repeatedly, I weakly told her I felt for a while that maybe our connection wasn't the greatest, and while I wished her individual practice well, I couldn't afford it and I didn't feel our connection had been that great for a while, so it's probably best to end there. We hung up on that note, but she texted me after, asking for reasons. I mentioned the above points, and she pushed back, saying I should have said something, but I did call out reason number 1 and number 2 in the moment. She pushed back more, so I said, I apologize for hurting your feelings. I wish you and your practice all the best, but I don't have anything further to say, and put her on mute. Am I the asshole? I do wish I'd handled it better, but at the same time, I think I did address most of our issues head on, and she didn't want to hear them. Our top reply says, not the asshole. A therapist that doesn't listen when you mention an issue about her being late, or the constant need to get more of your money, not insurance, is just weird. With these problems, how are you supposed to trust her to help you with your life? You did the right thing. Another reply says, not the asshole. You were being honest about your feelings, and she didn't like what you heard. So she fought back on it when she should have respected your decision. So I know all my subscribers, they want to hear my opinion. So definitely not the asshole. If you're in this type of position and you feel like that your therapist isn't listening to you, or maybe the treatments just aren't working for you, definitely just get somebody else. I mean, there's plenty of therapists out there. You need to find someone that's going to work with you, not for you. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for not saying anything about the underwear? It's got to be a good one. My 20-year-old daughter and her fiance are currently staying with us. I love my daughter, but she is very difficult and I can't stand her fiance. I gave them a deadline to move out because I can't take this anymore. They got into a massive fight the other day while my wife was out. I guess a pair of my wife's underwear got in with their laundry, and she thought he was cheating. I think the fact she immediately jumped to cheating shows just how bad their relationship is. She was waving the underwear around and I recognized them because they had a floral print, but I just let this ridiculous fight go on. My wife came home after about 30 minutes and said they were hers. My wife asked if I didn't realize they were hers and I accidentally laughed. My daughter burst into tears and won't talk to me. Her fiance said we're fucked and left the house, but my wife thought it was funny. Our top reply says, "You might be the asshole, but I'm living for it." My personal verdict is, you're the asshole, but I'd like to invoke Shitman versus Frickboy, which states that in times of outlandish or otherwise infantile behavior, assholery may, subject to scrutiny, be permitted. Our next reply says, "Not the asshole. If your first thought is cheating and not the other woman that lives in this house, you've got issues." Another reply says, "Not the asshole. It's not your fight either. Also, it's wild that your daughter would think that her fiance is bringing girls into your house, her parents, to cheat on and accidentally leave underwear there. It's hilarious, and I would probably have laughed too. If I lived with another woman and the same thing happened to me, I feel like I would assume that it was hers before anything else. My significant other and I keep our laundry separate, and stuff of his still ends up in mine." So I think that the OP might be a little bit of an asshole. I think that the daughter and the fiance also have some issues if she would just jump to that conclusion already. But I've just never understood how you could leave a house without your underwear and not notice it. I mean, I guess if you're like used to that and that's not a abnormal thing for you, then I could understand that. But I just I could never just forget my underwear somewhere. It's just crazy to me. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let me know. So that's going to be it for this video. I know this one didn't have too many assholes in it, and I'll try to do a better job of getting a good mix in there. I thought that last one was pretty good though, so I definitely had to include that. Go ahead and subscribe if you feel like that. I'd like to do a 1 subscriber special instead of a 0 subscriber special. Anyway, let me know what you thought down below. I'm open to suggestions, feedback. If you thought it was shit, just hit the dislike button twice. That'll be great. Anyway, I'll see you in another 6 months, unless I get a subscriber. Then I guess I'll have to do another video. Anyway, see ya.